Erik Ten Hag is aggressively going through his phone book to find more players to sign that he's coached at previous clubs. De Ligt is next. Mazraoui. Who else does he know? Which other players is he going to sign? He's been in the window, signed a few very high quality players, and of course, as I said, he's going into his phone book trying to get the boys in that he knows. They're in an interesting situation. Takeover after the Glazers, a lot of people are feeling like there's a bit more of a direction. Dan Ashworth is there, and they kept Ten Hag. Let's start there, because I was shocked. I was convinced Ten Hag was gone. I think I saw your tweet saying it's basically the end, towards the end of the season, and then he stayed.
Yeah, to me, it's crazy that they kept him, because Manchester United's sort of new ownership group, the Ineos group, who only own part of the club, let's be clear about that at this stage, made it out as if they were turning over a new leaf, a new club, new direction. And then what they've done is they've looked around, realised that they can't attract the manager that they want, and so they've decided to keep him. And what they've done is dress this up as if they've shown loads of faith in Erik Ten Hag, when actually what they did was trigger an extension clause that was already in his contract. So for me, they've kicked the can down the road rather than making a really bold decision. In terms of the players that they're going after this summer, okay, it looks like there's more structure to what they're doing and they're trying to find the right profiles, but they've still got so much work to do before you can talk about them as being even nailed on for the top four. I think the FA Cup victory last season papered over so many cracks. I couldn't believe what I was seeing online. Manchester United fans that the week before were saying it was the end of the road for Erik Ten Hag were now saying give him a new contract. It blows my mind. There are reasons to be positive. They've got some really good young players, I think. People like Garnacho. I think people are looking at Højlund and thinking that he can kick on. Kobbie Mainoo is obviously the standout one. He was brilliant at the Euros. For me, should have started for England from the beginning. So there are reasons to be optimistic and reasons to believe they can improve. But there's one big blocker, and that's the manager for me.
Completely.
He's not done enough. And how does he still have that job? And how can you be taking over a club like Ineos have, taken over sporting responsibility and saying, this and this and this is wrong, but you've left the most fundamental of problems in the position? If he lasts the season, I'd be surprised, honestly.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, Man United won't be successful while Ten Hag's at charge. I mean, they can buy whoever they want. They can buy loads of different players. But we said all of last season, there's no structure, there's no plan. You don't know what style of football they play. And I don't see how adding more players into that is going to make Ten Hag's job easier. He was basically a Josko Gvardiol mistake away from being sacked. They spent 2 months trying to find a new manager. They couldn't find anyone who they liked more than him. And they've stuck with him. And there's no confidence there for me that United will do anything this year, because I don't think that he's a particularly solid manager, especially when you look at the other managers in the league. We've seen Postecoglou. He might have his weaknesses, but you know what style of football he plays. You know what style of football Arteta, Pep, Unai Emery. We don't know Slot as well, but you can see the markings of how he wants to play football. You have no idea about how Erik Ten Hag wants to play football. I can't see United winning any of the big trophies this year.
With the risk of this blowing up in my face as well, people that they've gone out and signed this summer, so like Joshua Zirkzee, right? I've watched a lot of Serie A and I think he's a good forward player. But is he a sure thing in terms of a signing? He's not. The same with Lenny Yoro. They spent a lot of money on him. Okay, he's injured and he's going to miss the start of the season. But these are signings that maybe in 2-3 seasons are going to look like masterstrokes. But do they move the needle enough right now? So can we confidently say that Manchester United's transfer policy is so radically different that now all of a sudden they're going to kick on? I just can't.
I think that their transfer policy is cleaner, because previously it's been a scattergun approach. The signings they've made have been very underwhelming, and I don't think anyone's looked at these signings and gone, Lenny Yoro, goodness me, like they're going to change their defensive structure, because the defensive numbers last season were atrocious. Conceded 58 goals, 203 shots on target against the 5th worst in the league, and then they had a lot of injury problems as well. And there was a constant talk from Erik Ten Hag that if I have all my players available, then I'll be able to do something. Lenny Yoro's already out for months on end, so there is a lot of problems there, but they did get that win. And I think, although it papers over the cracks, it did also show that if they play a certain style, there are ways for them to win games.
I think there are ways for them to win individual games. I don't think it's conducive to a whole league season, because as I say, I don't think there is a style there. I think anyone can beat anyone on their day, and Ten Hag has actually quite a good record against Guardiola, and that's because he probably plays up to the occasion a little bit, and he probably understands a little bit of which particular players to attack at which particular times, and that's fine. But if you don't have a structure of how you play going through the whole season, I don't see how you can be successful over a 38 game period.
Yeah, he got away with it big time, Erik Ten Hag last season. Like, there's no doubt about that. Okay, the FA Cup, they were millimetres away from going out to Coventry in the semi-final. I just think they've got enough individuals within the group to be able to turn up on the odd occasion. Individuals will win you games, but to win the biggest titles in football, you need teams. Yeah. And I thought they had a lot of fortune along the way to the FA Cup. That should never have been what they based Erik Ten Hag's future around. And it seems like they've still not got their ducks in order. And so they've had to revert to that as the deciding point. And Erik Ten Hag's got the job.
There's quite a lot of similarities in there as well with like Ten Hag's United and Southgate's England. There's not really a structure that you can see there, but there are these individual players who can carry you far in certain games and in certain tournaments. But yeah, with no structure, I can't see them succeeding.